is Jen, and this is Bees Has the Plants, where we talk about all things houseplant and home design. Welcome back. It's another day, another episode of my series, The Houseplant Alphabet. This is a series where I introduce each of my houseplants, we talk about my experience growing them, and what conditions they are currently receiving inside my home. Just a reminder, I am not a plant expert of any kind at all, and this is not a definitive care guide by any means, just my experience. I am so excited to show you today's plant because it is one of my favorite for sure. So the plant we are going to be talking about today is the Peperomia Obtusifolia, also known as the baby rubber tree. So this plant gets its nickname from its very thick, succulent-like leaves that resemble the Ficus elastica quite a bit, but it is not a ficus, it is in fact a peperomia. But it is honestly just as easygoing, if not easier going, than the Ficus elastica, so if you like that plant, you'll like this one for sure. Okay, so let's talk about lighting. So this plant does not like direct lighting at all. Usually if you put this plant in direct lighting, the leaves will curl like all the way down like this. It definitely prefers more like bright indirect light. I do have this one and this other variety of Peperomia Obtusifolia on this shelf behind me right now. I've had to move this one to like a section of the shelf that doesn't get as much lighting because it started to look a little bit unhappy because it's getting quite tall, so it's getting quite like high, like close to the grow lights. I haven't had any issues with this one just because it's a much shorter plant. And then I have another Peperomia Obtusifolia. I have so many downstairs, and it's in a south facing window, and that one is happy as well. These don't need like a ton of light. They will probably survive in like medium lighting, but they definitely do put up bigger leaves, and they are a lot happier when they get a brighter light. These can be very fast growers if you put them in the right light condition. Okay, let's talk about this situation up here. So this is actually what a Peperomia Obtusifolia flower looks like. It looks like a rat's tail and absolutely nothing special at all. I don't really think that the Peperomia Obtusifolia flowering does much for the plant, so I think most people just recommend you cut it off, and I will cut it off. I've been saving it because I wanted to show you guys what it looks like. I don't know why it's flowering. I hope it's a good sign that it's flowering. I've read that sometimes it's actually not a good sign when this plant or not this plant, but sometimes it's not a great sign when plants in general flower, because that's them like being like, oh, I'm really stressed and I'm flowering so that I can like spread my seeds so that like even if I die, my like lineage doesn't die. I don't know, I'm being dramatic. But so far this plant looks happy to me, and the latest leaves have been like huge, so I don't think it's flowering because it's unhappy. I'm pretty sure it's flowering because it's happy. Okay, so let's talk about watering this plant. So it's very easy to tell when this plant needs water. So what you're going to do is you're going to start feeling some of the bottom leaves to feel whether or not they're still very thick and succulent, and then you'll start to kind of like bend the leaves to see whether or not it's flexible. So right now it does not need water, so the leaves at the bottom are not very flexible. When I'm bending them, I'm feeling a lot of resistance, and you need to do it with leaves at the bottom and not necessarily leaves at the top, because the leaves at the top are newer, so they don't store as much water in them as the leaves on the bottom. So when I'm trying to like bend the leaves down here, I feel a lot of resistance. It definitely feels like it's going to crack if I push too hard. So I'm going to demonstrate on this leaf up here, but when you would do it with a leaf at the bottom, you would do like the taco test where you bend it like a taco shell, and so if it bends like all the way, you'll know that your plant is thirsty and it needs to be watered. And then I would also make sure that the soil is dry all the way through, but those usually happen around the same time in my experience. So I have a few varieties. So this one is just called the marble, so it has like a marbling effect. I put it in a really dark area and it reverted for a while. I believe that the variegation on this plant is stable though. So I put it back in really good lighting, and the past 2 leaves have been very highly variegated. And then I have this Peperomia Obtusifolia. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know what happened to this Peperomia Obtusifolia. I burned the heck out of it. It got very sunburned. So if you see like all of the brown bits, yep, that's sunburn. I put it outside to be watered, and then I forgot about it, so it was in like direct sunlight for a while and it just like burned to a crisp. So I decided to chop up the plant because it was a plant that looked, you know, like this with like one stem. So I decided to chop up a plant. I water propagated it, and then I stuck it into some LECA, and now it's a nice full plant, and you can barely see any of the burnt leaves. It's definitely getting full enough where I could totally cut off the burnt leaves if I wanted to. And this one's in LECA. It's been very happy in LECA. I also have a section, this plant's still in soil, and that section is doing equally well. So I think these are really just like generally very easy going plants. For my plants in LECA, I just water it like how I water all my other LECA plants. I do flush days. At the moment I'm doing them twice a month, but usually before I did them once a month, and they get new nutrients water once a month. Otherwise they just get normal water. So I believe that this variety is called the Golden Gate, and then I have a variety that's pretty much just plain green, and I think that one's just like the normal one. Okay, for humidity, I don't put these in any special humidity condition at all. I just have them in ambient room humidity. They usually live on this shelf, so they're getting around like 50% most of the time. Let's talk about propagation. Peperomias are very easy to propagate. You do not need a node. You can even propagate from a single leaf. So if you want to propagate from a single leaf, let's say you want to take this leaf, right? And you want to propagate it off of this leaf, what you can do is you can cut it like this, so in half horizontally, and then you want to see the line where you cut, right? That line goes either into soil or you could put it into water. Just make sure that both of your cut lines is the section that is facing downwards. You can also propagate just from like cutting a leaf down here, cutting a section of the stem with the leaves. These are just very easy to propagate. I prefer to water propagate just because I can then monitor the roots, and pretty much as soon as you see like quite a bit of roots, the plant will start to develop like tiny baby leaves, and when you get to that point, that's when you want to pot it up in whatever medium you choose. I got a question that if you see like baby roots by the baby leaves by the roots, like what do you do with those when you are potting up? And I usually just bury them, and then the plant will grow new leaves that will find its way upright again once the root has been covered. So it's like not really a big deal at all. So these are very fast growers, and they are also very quick at propagating. Normally I see signs of roots within a week or 2. Okay, I think that's all I have to tell you about this plant. This is one of my favorite plants, so if you ever see it in a nursery, you should definitely pick it up. Alright, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!